Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure?
It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the morning grind. I'm not completely all here this morning. We'll talk about what just happened, what happened last night. It was an epic time on the plugged in live stream last night. We'll talk about that here in just a moment, but this is World Building Wednesday. I was also trying to get the morning messages sorted. I think they're basically sorted, but there's a little bit of an error, but that's okay. We run with what we got, and then we will fix it up later. Fix it up tomorrow. Hello, everybody. So good to see everybody. We've got Draco here from, from yesterday. We had new people coming in because, see, X7, X7 is here. Micah is here because we're going to be talking about, the third edition Forgotten Realms. This is World Building Wednesday, so one of the other things that we need to look at that we hadn't looked at yet was the third edition Forgotten Realms campaign guide, and we're trying to understand what makes good campaign settings and how to structure them so that we can write our own. Now, I've got this one sitting right over here with me because we can look at, we have looked at the second edition Forgotten Realms setting, and I thought that it might be a good idea while we look at this, I've got this in PDF format, but then compare and contrast the second edition box from the third edition book, because we can do boxes and books, and we tend to like the boxes around here. We do unboxings and stuff, but we've got, but I do really like that third edition book. So we're going to be looking at that today. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. 7xmas7. So, right, because we were raided last night. I also do want to give an update on the OGL situation shortly. I don't think there's been any news, but if there has been, let me know. I don't think there's been news in the last, well, I didn't really follow it for the past about maybe 12 hours. Has there been additional information in the past 12 hours? We'll update everybody. Good morning. Hey, it's Retro Nerd Girl. Retro Nerd Girl's here. Hello, Retro Nerd Girl. Batman says, hey, do you have a hangover? Well, I'm definitely dry and in need of water. But yeah, I did make it out of bed, but not quite as early as I would have liked. The whole thing has completely been disruptive here. Micah says, the whole thing, and by the whole thing has been disruptive, I'm talking about since the OGL dropped. And then I was planning on having just a hour or maybe 2 hour game session last night. And then last night with the Vaxanadu game was now my record breaking stream. We set a new record last night for the longest stream that I've ever done, and that was 7 hours and 15 minutes. Yesterday, the plugged in stream went for 7 hours and 15 minutes. But we did beat Vaxanadu. Vaxanadu was beaten on stream last night. Yes, I was wondering if you were going to pop in. I was actually thinking about you, Retro Nerd Girl, during it, since it was the Vaxanadu stream. Well, I tell you what. Let me go ahead and play the morning messages. Oh, I've got to bring those up. I was trying to fix them up before I went live. And I might have missed something, but I'm also supposed to put up, because this is the important day. So this is World Building Wednesday. So there we go, World Anvil. So here's the morning messages. The Cultist is our comedy web show about modern-day Lovecraftian cultists just trying to worship Cthulhu in a world full of people who don't understand.
Fish are friends, not food.
I'm a little worried about Rob.
Yes, it's happening.
Ever since we tried to summon Cthulhu, he hasn't been the same.
I'm growing gills. Gills! My transformation into a deep one has finally begun.
Rob, we don't see any gills.
It's these kids getting involved or stuff causes them to go crazy.
Seasons 1 and Season 2 are on my YouTube channel now. Each episode is only 5 to 7 minutes long, and you can watch the replays of the live after parties that we had with the cast and crew. They were a lot of fun. The Morning Grind is brought to you by Ravenkeep. Check out the World Anvil website to learn more about everything that it can do for you and your world building and your games, and also be sure to use the code MORNINGGRIND to get 40% off any annual World Anvil subscription. I knew World Anvil was great for game masters and for writers who are developing their worlds and want a beautiful site to display and manage all of that information. But what I didn't know is that World Anvil also offers extensive tools for players, including character sheets, journals, inventory management, and spell books, basically all the digital tools a player who is looking to immerse themselves in their character would need. We're going to be using World Anvil here on Morning Grind to build out the worlds of Rabavania and Theophany, so we'll get to see it in action here as we go on the show. Alright, that's it for the messages. Let's get to the main topic. The Morning Grind is also brought to you by the World of Ataltus. The Ataltus Player's Guide includes 7 new lineages that provide something new and fresh for your player characters. Check it out on ataltus.com and get it for your table. The Morning Grind is also brought to you by the Thrones and Bones Viking-inspired fantasy RPG setting. It includes 37 new creatures and monsters, including the Buttercat, a tiny feline construct made of yarn and spindles that steals milk for its master. Get the book on DriveThruRPG today. And thank you for being here with me live on The Morning Grind. And if you're watching on replay, welcome to you as well. It's great to have you here. If you're enjoying The Morning Grind, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It will really help the channel grow, and I would be very thankful. We also have the Ravenkeep Discord server you can join if you would like to be a part of the community. Alright, that's what you need to know. Let's get to the main topic. Okay, so I was trying to fix that up this morning right before I went live. I noticed there were a couple of errors because things were out of order. That's World Anvil, but it's important because this is World Building Wednesday with World Anvil. And then also I was realizing, oh yeah, I have to put in the Thrones and Bones and the World of Ataltis sections as well. So, all right. So that's that. Now we can talk about, let's talk about the OGL. I'll put up a banner here. So as far as I know, that is basically correct. People are talking about, yeah, Desist Dawdling says, no updates from what I've seen beyond their soon post 21 hours ago. Yeah, what I was seeing yesterday was the following. Kobold Press put out an update called like Raising the Flag, something about a black flag or raising the flag. And Kobold Press was saying that they're going to produce a RPG as well. That's community and whatever. So as far as I'm sure there are a lot of efforts going on that's like this. So but the two that I'm aware of that seem to be the most credible are what Mark Tassin is doing. And Mark Tassin is the creator of the World of Ataltis. And so he's got an effort going on there. It's going to be coming to Kickstarter and is putting together a whole bunch of developers on that. And in the Discord server, I suppose if you are here and you're not part of the Discord server, I will put that the link to the Discord server in there, because when I see Mark live, he's been streaming on Twitch, actually. He's supposed to be streaming on YouTube. He said that he would be, but I haven't seen that yet. I guess he's still trying to get that together. So he's streaming every night the development of the Cool Name RPG. And then and then now we've got something from Kobold Press coming. So that came out yesterday. Desist Dawdling says, no updates, beyond what I saw from their soon post 21 hours ago. Right. So D&D Beyond put out a Twitter tweet, as if there's another kind of tweet. They put out a tweet that said, more information. We know you're looking for information, basically more information coming soon, or, an update to be put out soon. But that was, 21 hours ago or something like that. I retweeted and said, like, how soon is soon? So I had no idea. There could be breaking information basically at any time. And we will cover that. So that was the other big thing. But the final big thing was that it was discovered that somebody had written their PhD dissertation in IP law on the OGL. And so Roll to Win Combat, or Roll for Combat was, and there was also a YouTube video on that had already been published. And so that was being watched on the Roll for Combat channel yesterday. And I did check out that video where there was another YouTube channel that is all about contract law, apparently. And the guy who hosts that channel had interviewed the guy who was the author of the PhD dissertation on the subject of the OGL. And so it had come out to light. And so yesterday, I had thought that maybe what I needed to do was go over that PhD dissertation, because I downloaded the PhD dissertation. And I thought that, well, maybe that's something we should do. Is it worth breaking down the PhD dissertation? Now, in order to know if I need to do that or not, I should probably spend at least a little bit of time with the dissertation. But I thought that maybe that would be something we could do on live stream like we did when we broke down the leak, So one possibility this afternoon, at least I was thinking yesterday, one possibility this afternoon would be to break down this PhD dissertation. The wind down is supposed to be tonight we do the wind down on Wednesday, or supposed to be doing the wind down on Wednesday. I wasn't able to do it last time because I was just exhausted last Wednesday. But now I think there are two possibilities. We could continue with the wind down as normal. Well, three possibilities. Continue with the wind down as normal tonight. Two, look at this PhD dissertation. The OGL is more important. The OGL situation is more important because that's impacting so many people. So look over the dissertation, or if there's some kind of breaking news, then we could look at breaking news. So that's that's kind of what I'm thinking. But if I'm going to look at the PhD dissertation, I want to at least look at it for a couple of hours before I start some kind of live discussion on it. Desist Dawdling says, World Anvil is awesome. The community is amazing, and their challenges keep you motivated. Yeah, the World Anvil Discord server is like popping all the time. Oh, okay. Also, Monty Cook's Cypher system is on sale on the site. Kobold is making their own, and I believe Troll Lord is revising theirs to remove any OGL content. Oh, I hadn't heard that about OGL, about Troll Lord. And that's great that Cypher system is on sale. I believe they opened that one up. They opened up the Cypher system on an open license, right? And we're going to take a look at the Cypher system on the Morning Grind sometime soon. That's on the list because it's an open system and people have been recommending the Cypher system to me anyway. So that's going to be coming soon. David62 says, I signed up for Kobold's press rules when it's released. I also joined a group to boycott the film. Drop my subscription on Beyond. Yeah, there is some place on the Kobold website where you can sign up if you want updates on what Kobold Press is doing. Who is the author of the dissertation? Judy, you got this. Says, who's the author of the dissertation? Hang on just 1 second. I will find it. I posted the dissertation to the Discord server, but I bet I can also find it here in just a second. It is, here's the title of the dissertation, the author, and the author. I'll put this in the chat right here. If you love something, set it free. Open content, copyright licensing, and creative culture expression. I don't know how to pronounce that first name, but Roberto Tarantino, Osgood Hall Law School of York University. A dissertation submitted to the Faculty of Graduate Studies and partial fulfillment of the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Graduate program in law, York University, Toronto, Ontario. Oh, this says it's May 2019. Okay, so it was written in 2019. That's actually better. I thought it was written much earlier than that. But I guess it's better because it makes it even more recent. But there we go. Giuseppe? Okay, thank you. So that's how Giuseppe or Giuseppe or Giuseppe. Maybe Giuseppe. Okay, so we'll figure that out. And maybe he might end up making the rounds on YouTube. So I'm sure he's going to become very popular. Okay, so the final thing is what happened last night. If you go back to that live stream last night, not only were we beating the Tuesday nights, on Tuesday nights I play some type of video game. So I was playing Vagxanadu last night. I was trying to beat it in really 2 sessions, but I was also thinking maybe I just need to spend 1 or 2 hours tonight. So maybe it's going to be last night. So maybe it'll take 3 nights or something like that. But we were playing, we got on a roll, and then we got raided. I feel like I experienced the internet last night. I experienced the internet in a new way. New stuff happening. And what happened was we were raided by MC Toon. And this is, I don't know I didn't know that channel. I didn't know anything about it. I was just watching and all of a sudden the chat just started blowing up. And I was like, what is going on here? I thought, well, I had no idea what was going on, actually. All of a sudden, for some reason, there were tons of people. They went from like 4 people watching the Vagxanadu stream to about 75 people watching the Vagxanadu stream. And so apparently we were selected by another live stream for the Toon Gang. Yep, the Toon Gang came by. And I guess we got selected somehow. And then I was on another live stream while I was live streaming Vagxanadu. And it was a lot of fun. And like I said, it was an internet experience. So if you weren't on the live stream last night, you missed that. And you might want to go back. It's still up. So go back and watch the live stream. And then after we talked about flat Earth and science and the OGL. And we did talk about the OGL. So we brought that more attention to that situation. And then we came back and we decided to beat Vagxanadu. So that's what happened last night. So definitely check that out if you are a regular here. but you weren't here last night, you may want to go back and check that out. So, all right. So that's what's going on and what could possibly be going on this afternoon and tonight. I've got some other YouTube videos I want to make on the OGL situation, but I want to make sure that they're accurate and that they're current as well. All right, let me bring up this PDF here. Judy says, "Yeah, I talked to PhD Tony. Hearing you talk to he's a geophysicist, so that's really cool. So my PhD is in geography and geographic information systems. So that's what I did. That's my educational background. And then during this raid, when I was brought on the other channel, someone we were talking to on the channel is a PhD geophysicist. And so we were talking about geography and Earth stuff. So it was pretty neat. Okay, so here's the book. I've got the physical book right here, but I'm going to bring the PDF up here on the stream because this is World Building Wednesdays. So on World Building Wednesdays, of course, we're building two different worlds here. Let's see. Let me hide this. Hide sidebar. There we go. Trying to get my windows up here. On World Building Wednesdays, we try to look at some kind of campaign setting. Of course, we're building out Rabavania and Theophany, but one of the things that I want to do, because I'm still writing and have not, I was talking to Brianna yesterday. I also did have a meeting with Brianna yesterday on stories and pitch decks and things like that. And I realized I haven't gotten as much writing done over the past few days because of the OGL situation. But like I said, it's very important. So on World Building Wednesdays, though, not only are we writing those worlds and we're putting them in World Anvil, we've got the World Anvil pages set up. I thought it was a good idea to also look at some existing campaign settings and see how they're structured. We don't really have a good formal format for looking at campaign settings yet, like we do with RPGs. Thanks to many of Trey's recommendations, we have had a sort of standard way to look and evaluate different role-playing games and learn how to play them and such. And but we don't, because we haven't looked at as many campaign settings, we don't really have that for campaign settings, although there isn't, a standard way to produce them. I remember, I played a lot out of the second edition Forgotten Realms set. This was basically my campaign setting for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So played that quite a bit. And so when they were releasing Forgotten Realms for a third edition, I was very excited about that. And I wanted to be sure that I got the third edition Forgotten Realms setting like as soon as it came out. But I remember being initially a bit disappointed by the fact that the third edition Forgotten Realms campaign setting wasn't a boxed set. It was just a book here. And I was like, wait a minute, how are you going to do a campaign setting if you just have a book? Because I'm used to, I want all the maps. I want all the other stuff that is in the campaign setting box. But this book really did become kind of the de facto, the de facto campaign setting for our games of third edition. Of course, I played a lot of third edition and 3.5 as well. And we played out of Forgotten Realms campaign setting a lot. So after that, I came to appreciate the campaign setting as large book, right? A lot more. Now, I still do love the boxes. We do the unboxings, the boxes here a lot, but doing a campaign setting as a book, it could be a great idea. And I think it might be the way that I kind of want to go as far as a release goes. Now, I think there needs to be that world primer. We were talking about what needs to go in a world primer, but then also once a book is released, then a box could come later with fancy maps and everything like that. Okay. Wait. Yes. Yeah. 2 hours worth of sleep. Yeah. Another beautiful day. I thought I was like, what's my laptop? Something going on. So has anybody played out of this book? Is the Forgotten Realms anybody else's major campaign setting? Do you play a lot of Forgotten Realms or have played a lot of Forgotten Realms? I have. And, I think this is one of those situations where we have to distinguish things that we already have, things that we have loved, things we've loved in the past from things that might be going on now at Dungeons and Dragons at the present level. So we do have a little bit of structure as far as what an RPG should be when we are writing it, because Wolfgang Bauer, who runs Kobold Press and wrote Midgard, was saying, see, what were the three things that we identified when he was in the podcast, or on another podcast we were referencing? He said you need to know what to do with the people, what to do with the places, and what to do with magic, right? And by people, he was talking about player characters, also NPCs, but also NPCs, but especially what are the players going to be able to play? That's very important. What are the places, and what's the conflict in each one of those places? What makes you want to go to each one of those places as far as a role-playing game goes? And then what is up with magic in the world, especially if it's a fantasy campaign setting. So when did this campaign setting come out? This campaign setting was released 2001. So this is 2001. So this is not far after the release of the OGL. And of course, this is not OGL. But it was soon. So we could try to analyze it in that way. What's going on with the people, what's going on with the places, and what's going on with magic? Oh, interestingly, we do have chapter 1. So we've got introduction here. Chapter 1 is devoted to characters. Chapter 4 is devoted to geography. Chapter 2 is devoted to magic. So actually, we've got a chapter on each one of those big sections that Bauer was talking about. Life in Faerun, deities, history, monsters, maps and diagrams, organizations. Oh, I had organizations in mind. And then running the realms. Running the realms, which is information for dungeon masters. Oh, I do like that it also has the sidebar, a list of sidebars. I didn't know it had that here in the table of contents. List of sidebars. Vision, yes, everybody, please do hit the like button. If you're here, please do hit the like button on the stream. Micah says, not played 3rd edition, did play 3.5, 4, and 5. Everyone had moved on to 3.5 by the time I was reading 3 edition books, and 4th edition came out while I was in the middle of a 3.5 campaign. BGD says, I'm a grognard, and so I cut my teeth on the world of Greyhawk. But this edition of Forgotten Realms was a worthy successor as a de facto D&D campaign setting. Ed Greenwood remains a legend. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Rodman says, hey, Judy. Hi, Heath. Was listening to you on MC Tune. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. More connections. I love the connections. It's fantastic. Epic last night. That was part of the raid situation, which was so much fun. Okay. So how do we how you actually, what the world is about, what the world is going to be giving you. You know, we talk about that when we're evaluating the RPG rule systems as well. What is the world giving you? What is it like in bullet points? So I would think you would also want your world to do that. So the very beginning might tell us that. Now, most of us are familiar with the Forgotten Realms anyway, so this is not something that's new. But how did they articulate back in 2001 what the realms are and why you should play in it? Oh, is that on the back of the book? What are its points on the back of the book? Yes. Okay, so the back of the book might give us that. We go to the back of the book on RPGs. So what does it actually say on the back? It says, dark perils and great deeds await. Does this make us want to play if you had never read the Forgotten Realms before? Welcome to Faerun, a land of high magic, terrifying monsters, ancient ruins, and hidden wonders. From the forbidden forests of the Silver Marches to the teeming cities of the Inner Sea, Faerun encompasses shining kingdoms, monster-infested wastes, endless caverns, and sinister citadels. The Forgotten Realms campaign setting presents the most comprehensive fantasy world ever described. The book contains all the details you need to play Dungeons & Dragons adventures in all the Forgotten Realms settings. A new full-color poster map of Faerun. Oh, yeah, it does come with a poster map. Does this edition have? Okay, so it does in the physical copy. Oh. My book still has it in there. So we got one poster map. We got one map in here. Hang on. I'll pull this on me solo myself. So, okay, so the book, even though it's a book, it does come with one poster. So the other book came with tons and tons and tons. The other box set came with tons and tons of maps. But this one does give you the following map. The Sword Coast, very popular area for role-playing. So, yep, we even have that. Confirmed. I don't want to lose that. Putting that back in here. The Forgotten... so, a new full-color poster map of Faerun. Dozens of new races, feats, and prestige classes for your character. The Faerunian Pantheon, including over 100 new deities and powers. Highly detailed regions, new monsters, mysterious sights, and 2 short adventures to begin your campaign. Oh, I didn't remember this had 2 adventures in it. I don't think we ever played the adventures that were in this book. Maybe we did. Maybe I would recognize them, but I don't think we did. Now, I do want to know that says the Forgotten Realms campaign setting presents the most comprehensive fantasy world ever described. I admit I'm jealous. It would be really nice to have something I was doing be called the most comprehensive fantasy world ever described. But there'd be a whole lot of work to do before then. But I wonder how you document that, especially at the time. This is 2001, so I can completely believe it. But in today's world, there's a lot of other options as well. So, do we know by word count or something like that, the amount of world building that's been done for certain fantasy worlds? I don't know. Now, also, on the structure of fantasy worlds, I think it's really important to avoid generic fantasy. And Brianna and I were talking about this during our meeting yesterday, that for some reason, it seems really easy to do generic fantasy. And it seems like we get a lot of that, which ends up not being good, right? And we suppose that there was generic sci-fi as well. But it does seem like a lot of different movies or TV shows, when you get something new in fantasy, well, you like something new in fantasy. These things are big deals to get, because even though it seems like there's just a glut of fantasy material today, it's still rare to have something like a movie or a TV show or something like that. But it seems really easy for whatever reason to end up in generic fantasy. The Forgotten Realms is not that. So the Forgotten Realms is one of our core fantasy worlds, at least to me, that is not describing something that is generic fantasy. Oh, I'm supposed to put up, let me put this back up. That's not describing generic fantasy. Instead, what it's describing is a unique fantasy world. So Middle Earth, I would say Middle Earth, Forgotten Realms, what are our major fantasy settings? In novels there are as well. So I guess there's several now. But as far as just world building goes, what's the largest one? But the ones that are major worlds that we think about, we appreciate, and we play in aren't generic fantasy. They're doing something different, right? And we talked about that in with regard to the original Willow movie. Why didn't the original Willow movie do for fantasy what Star Wars did for science fiction? Because Willow did not have the same effect. And why? And it might be because Willow was too generic. Willow might be too generic. I don't have any type of any particular draw toward the world of Willow after having watched the original movie. I know there's been a new Willow TV show. I haven't watched any of that, so I don't know anything about that. We were just talking about it in reference to the original Willow movie. Draco says, new for me, only saw a D&D play when I was like 9 years old, and then got hooked on Das Schwarz. Oh, it's because English is not my native language. Interesting. I don't know that one. But English is my native language, so there we go. Yes, you do, Vision. Thank you. There's information from Modiphius as well. Modiphius is a board game publisher, probably on the OGL side. Modiphius evidently emailed while I was eating earlier, working on Drive-Thru RPG. 2D20, that's their system. Now, Modiphius does have its own system, the 2D20 system. Yeah, we looked at that when we were looking at the Conan RPG. 2D20 World Builder program creators get 50% of sales. and any 2D20 system rules will become usable by anyone else in the program. However, you, the creator, will own all the IP you create. That's good to know. So, see, this is why this is shaking up the landscape of tabletop games. Even if this 1.1 leak does not go through, this is still shaking up the tabletop games for all of these reasons. I still think, I was saying last night that I think that 1.0 A is going to stand. It seems like, from what I've been reading and the questions I've been asking and the comments that I've been getting back, it seems like they're not going to be able to deauthorize or revoke or anything like that 1.0 A, and that will be huge, and that'll be so great to allow people to continue to publish under it like you're supposed to be able to publish under it, and let everybody keep their books out there that are already published. But 2D20 will become another option then. That's great. I'll look at that. We've looked at 2D20 here. We might need to look at it some more. I do too, Vision. Cartography. Of course, I taught cartography for several years. Grimhild says, catching up with the stream, I've been DMing Forgotten Realms since 1987 in every edition of D&D except for 4th, and played 4th instead of DMing. Ah. All right, let's go back over here. All right, so that's how they pitch the Forgotten Realms. Oh, so here is actually, okay, so they, in this PDF, they've got the map in here broken up. They've got the map broken up. They don't have it all as one thing in the PDF. But okay, let's go back up to the top. So we want to know, I think that's a good thing to hit. You know, how are they selling it? What's our bullet points about it? Now, what are the characters? What's the conflict? You know, when we were looking at Symbaroum, I almost went back over Symbaroum today, or Symbarum, or however exactly you pronounce it, because we did look at this, and man, people were excited about this one too. We've had a lot of different things that we've looked at for settings and worlds that people are really excited about, and this one is the Grimdark campaign setting, a very Grimdark campaign setting, it seemed, and the things that most sold us, actually, you know, I would say this is an example of the back not quite selling it, because I was like, all right, so we got, you know, the haunted, you know, treasure and fame going and hunting and dark ruins and all of that, but it really wasn't until we got on the inside and learned about what was going on with this queen who had been taken hostage, and the Dark Lord, and her face has been scarred, and she wears this mask, and is this really her, and all of that. And we were primarily focused on the rules side of this. I was trying to figure out what is in the rules, and that's a 5e rule book. But we're going to return to that book for World Building Wednesday as well, and actually get into the world building side of that and figure out what that world's about, because it seems really cool. They had really neat dwarves in there, dwarves unlike other things. So this idea of selling points, characters, but then that book got us into the conflict. Once we got into the conflict there, that's when I went, oh, well, that's fascinating. That's exciting. So we need to remember that, and especially if we're writing a campaign setting, the selling points and things, I think, need to revolve around the conflict. Characters, places, magic, but places, really, just describing places won't do it. It's why adventure there, and what kind of conflict are we having? Vision says the Dark Crystal was unique fantasy. Yes, it was. The Dark Crystal absolutely was. What do you think has had greater impact, the Dark Crystal or Willow? Well, on me personally, the Dark Crystal. For me personally, the Dark Crystal had greater impact. And I was really enjoying the new TV show, and that got canceled. Of course, right. Brutus the Cat said, I would say Galorian does have more books dedicated to one setting than any specific Wizards of the Coast setting. Kobold's Midgard might be getting close as well. I don't know. No, wait. Yes, I do. Galorian. But then, yeah, Kobold, a lot of stuff is out for Midgard. Now, one way that all of a sudden you probably get a lot of stuff for a world, and that's one reason why maybe Forgotten Realms got out front, is if you've got multiple different worlds or different regions, and then they all of a sudden come together as one world. That happened to Midgard, I understand. There was a whole bunch of different things different modules and things like that, and then the campaign setting kind of put them all together. And also, some things got added to Forgotten Realms. Like, didn't Dark Sun get added to Forgotten Realms? I think Dark Sun, I'm pretty sure about this. Dark Sun was its own campaign setting, and then it got added to Forgotten Realms as a particular continent on Faerun, or a big region of Faerun, or something like that. And so that, I'm sure, that itself dramatically expanded the amount of material for Forgotten Realms. See, Retro Nerd Girl says the lore of Willow was mostly left out to streamline the movie. So that also hurts, probably. Well, the importance of the story, but then also the lore from the uniqueness. Desist Dawdling says Willow was also a single movie versus a series. I feel like sci-fi might have felt more relatable too, as based on science and not magic. Yeah, for some reason, fantasy has that problem. So, fantasy has that problem for some reason. But, it's not like Star Wars doesn't have its fair share of magic in the Force, right? Grimhild says, sadly, Forgotten Realms started becoming generic everything, but the kitchen sink fantasy in 4th E. Well, that could be true. I don't know anything about 4th edition Forgotten Realms. Now, by 5th edition, right, the Forgotten Realms have become standard. There is something to be said for making something special, right? And not like your default campaign setting, because the realms is something that was separate and special in 2001 when this book was published. The Dark Eye says that's the dark. Somebody else was talking about the Dark Eye RPG. It could have been you, but maybe on Twitter or something like that. That's the second time I've seen actually the Dark Eye come up, a European RPG. So that's really interesting. Let's go to characters for just a second. See, what type of stuff does it tell you about characters and races? Page 8. So it does start. So Elminster is here. So it actually starts off with Elminster's, leads off with Elminster's stats. So we're talking about characters. That's an NPC, but they don't really draw that out specifically. They put it as far as in an NPC group, but there's probably NPCs otherwise. But Elminster being so iconic, he gets put right here at the very start. Guarded wizards of Thay, distrusted by the common folk of the Dalelands, seek deeper knowledge in the elven runes of Cormenthor. Determined clerics of Tyr walk the cold lands of the Moon Sea, battling against the sinister influence of the Zhentarim. Stout-hearted shield dwarves seek to free the plundered citadels of their ancestors from the feral orcs and ogres that occupy them. Almost any kind of hero or villain may find a home in the Forgotten Realms campaign setting. Faerun is an old continent with hundreds of disparate cultures. So, right, so your fighter is defined by homeland training and background. Just as, there was like feats or skills and things like that that were region-specific as a result of this book. Yeah, region-specific skills. Yeah, here we go. So a character's region may affect his or her list of skills. As a general rule, characters with the knowledge skill often focus on the region in which they grew up, though characters may focus on regions in which they have lived as adults, which they have studied in books. So regional focus. A character may choose to add a regional focus to the geography, history, nature, nobility, and royalty or religion areas of the knowledge skill. This regional focus provides a +2 bonus on knowledge checks that pertain to the region in question. For example, a character may choose knowledge Symbian history instead of knowledge history in order to be particularly adept at history checks pertaining to Symbia. The knowledge local skill per se does not exist in the Forgotten Realms campaign. Instead, a character who chooses knowledge local must specify a region for his knowledge to apply to. All right. New feats as well. Humans, dwarves, and now here we've got different subspecies of dwarves, right? And we've talked about the term subspecies and how it might be better today. We like the way that Ataltis was doing it, where you have your biological parts, your biological aspects of your character covered by race or ancestry or something like that. But we talked about this proliferation of what we called subspecies or what has been called subspecies, to say, hey, these are the gold dwarves, these are the gray dwarves. We've got shield dwarves, gold dwarves, gray dwarves, rock gnomes, and deep gnomes, two different kinds of gnomes. Is it more elegant, and I think it is in today's world, potentially to handle that by saying, here's our race, ancestry, species, whatever it's called for the particular campaign setting that makes sense. And then over here, we're also going to connect that to a culture, which a Taltis does very well. So you can cross those things. And you've got biological aspects and you have cultural aspects. I think that's a really great way to do it. But this one does do the subspecies things. I think shield dwarves are a basic shield dwarf, basic dwarves. Yeah, shield dwarves have all the dwarven racial traits in Chapter 2 of the Player's Handbook, except for some changes here. Now, elves, we have drow. So yes, Faerun is home to 6 major sub-races of elves. Some of which sages believe were brought to the plains long ago by the gods. The moon elves, sun elves, and wood elves are joined in a loose alliance to the traditions and authority represented by the elven court, now located on the island of Evermeet, and in the person of Queen Amulary. We'll go over that. Most drow elves treat other elves as despised enemies, and the wild elves usually ignore the decrees of civilized elves in Evermeet. The sea elves are an aquatic people who rarely interact with their surface kindred. So we do have drow. So can you be a drow here? It looks like, I mean, obviously, I guess you can, because now drow are written up here. So once Dritz Duerden came onto the scene, everybody wanted to play a drow, right? So that's changing up the drow. Oh, the Brutus says your PDF has a full-size map on 362. It seems like it would make sense that they would give a full-size map here. Oh, Retro Nerd Girl is a fan of the Dark Crystal as well. Dark Crystal, yeah. I mean, I remember watching that as a kid, and that was something else. Brian Sanderson. I was just thinking about Brian Sanderson as I was thinking about Fantasy Worlds. Brian Sanderson, Mistborn has probably as a unique setting, and there's probably a lot of material for that as well. But that's probably most through novels, right? I mean, how would you distinguish that if you're talking about most detailed setting? If you've got novels in a book versus a campaign setting for an RPG, I mean, worlds can be detailed in novels as well. Micah says, as much as I love The Dark Crystal had an impact, and I love the Netflix show before it was canceled, I think Labyrinth has more pop culture impact and will be a great setting even without Sarah specifically. Brianna and I, we were talking about going back and watching Labyrinth to study that. That is a great point. Labyrinth with some pop culture impact probably could be. I think it's probably so. That's probably even beyond The Dark Crystal. Yeah. Good point on that. So here are elves, humans, sun elf, wood elf, moon elf. Gnomes. Then we've got gnomes. I enjoyed playing a gnome once. Half elves. Orcs and their skin. Oh, orcs and their kin. Orcs and their kin. I thought it said orcs and their skin. Human, half orc, half elf, half drow. I didn't remember half drow. Half orcs, halflings, Lightfoot halflings, plain touched. Now, Iasimar. I play Iasimar a lot. Iasimar tieflings are here. Iasimar tiefling, fire Ganazi, earth Ganazi, air Ganazi, water Ganazi, and a human for reference. So the Ganazi are descended from the elemental-related creatures such as Ifrit, Dao, Jin, Jan, and the Marids, among others. We haven't So 5th edition I haven't heard a lot about Genazis in 5th edition. Now it may be there, but the Tieflings came over to the PHB. Iasimar are there, but Genazi I haven't heard so much about. Now, classes. So I don't think they added classes. They may have just revised them or, given some additional information. So barbarians, bards, clerics, fighters, monks. Yeah, so not new class write-ups here. So that's what you can be. Let's see. I want to see how they write up regions, because we were also taking a look at, okay, how do you structure a regional write-up? And what kind of information? Because the world of Ataltis, Mark did some very comprehensive stuff with each individual region. And as far as a structured stat block goes, basically kind of like a stat block or even a character sheet for a region. Mark and Ataltis had that quite a bit. So geography, page 89. Let's see how if they like stat up regions, because we were trying to come up with some type of, do we need some type of standard stat block? So when we add a region into a world that we need to come up with. So geography right here. Oh, how to read a region entry. Okay, we do have this information right here. We got more votes for Mistborn in the chat. Dark Crystal is so good. I missed that pre-CGI real puppet style. Yes, I like the practical effects too. It's so easy to do some things by the computer, but I really like I really like practical effects too. We have come to the point, fantastically, that I'm not going to be able to read everybody's comments anymore, which is changing up how I have to do things, because I like to go through everybody's comments, but now things are different because of the number of comments that are coming in. Andrew makes a point about Star Wars. Star Wars was also a real filmmaking shift as well, except for 2001, which is a different vibe, totally different vibe. It looked like nothing else, like Avatar, but with more memorable story. That is an excellent point. We talked about that as well. Everything hit with Star Wars. Now, see, Star Wars, its story structure is used to this day as the instantiation of the hero's journey. So it hits the hero's journey perfectly. And also was this revolution in filmmaking. So it had a lot of things going for it that were not replicated in Willow. Crawl. I remember that one too. It seems like the fantasy films are fun, but they don't have the transformative filmmaking behind them until like The Lord of the Rings. Maybe there may be some other examples, but The Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings had that too. So the region entries here give us capital, give us population, give us government. Actually, they give us a lot of explanation here. The population is the total number of all sentient humanoids counted as citizens of that land. The percentages indicate how the population is distributed by race. Just because a particular race isn't represented in the population breakdown doesn't mean that none of its members live in the kingdom. They're simply too low in number to come close to 1% of the kingdom's population. Note that the total population percentages equal 99% rather than 100% to account for this scattering of other races. Government. The forms of government over that land. Refer to the definitions in Chapter 6 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Oh, okay, we don't have that. For small realms ruled by hereditary nobles are not large enough to be called true monarchies, so instead they are just referred to as lordships. The religion of the land, imports, goods commonly carried into the land, goods or products produced in abundance and sold in other lands, and then the alignment. Oh, so we do have alignment of the whole region. The general alignment tendency of people within the land, beginning with the most common. At least one of the towns and cities in the regions that are power centers usually follows the most common alignment. So, for instance, we do have. So this is like our map here. Lake of Streams, Dragon Coast, Cormyr. Played in Cormyr quite a bit as well. Oh, and telling us where we are right here. So we have the capital, population, government, a magocracy, religions, imports, exports, and it's neutral evil, or chaotic good. Anarak is the name of this land. Having the pronunciation I like here as well. Seeing new people. King Crew, welcome, welcome. Yes, come in, please do. Hit the like button. Thank you, King. Oh, Grimhild says soft G on Genazi. So Genazi. Ah, well, that does make sense. The Genazi, that does make sense. I think we always just said Genazi. I hadn't made that connection, but when you're talking about the Jinn and that they're descended from Jinn, so Genazi would make sense. So Micah says the Genazi are there, but not as emphasized, especially with how 4E made the lore more problematic, less emphasized in 5th edition. All right. So how we're just looking at how they structure this. So they've got that information, but then important sites. So ideally, you should want to know why you should go to each one of these and have some kind of conflict and adventure. I think that would be the goal. We got regional history as well. So they provide a lot of information on the regions, which you would expect. But like, for instance, does this give me a reason to want to go to this place? So I've got the City of Shade. Early in the year of the wild magic, either the dungeon master says, oh, I know what to do here. I know why to send heroes here. Or heroes are like, oh, I got to adventure there. This looks cool. We got to go there. So early in the year of the wild magic, a mysterious flying city of black walls and high spirits materialized above the Direwood. Shortly thereafter, it came to rest near the Scimitar Spire Mountains in southern Anarak. Its appearance coincided with the flooding of the Soul of Thirst. The inhabitants of the new city arrived city are the descendants of the Netherese wizards who slipped into the Plane of Shadow to escape the destruction of Nethril. Legions of dark-armored wizard warriors patrol the city streets and new surroundings, and a circle of arch-wizard shades infused with the power of the shadow stuff leads the city, just as the Netherese mage princes ruled the lands in olden times. Well, actually, that does make me want to go there. The phrase, legions of dark-armored wizard warriors patrol the city streets. Well, that sounds cool. And a city of arch-wizard shades infused with the power of the shadow stuff lead the city. Arch-wizards, I mean, that sounds pretty cool. What's the major conflict here? The City of Shade represents one of the most potent concentrations of arcane magic on the face of Toril, and its unexpected arrival troubles the councils of the wise and the powerful across Faerun. Okay, so that gave us something cool there and some reason to adventure. And then also regional history. Plots and rumors. Okay, so we do have a section on plots and rumors. So this is also probably that too. Adventurers have come to Anarak for generations in search of the magical might of the fallen Nethril and the fabulous treasures of the buried realms. It remains to be seen whether the soldiers and wizards of the City of Shade will take note of this activity and move to stop it, or for that matter, what the Shades are likely to do next. The other one was cooler. At the end of one of their adventures, the PCs, Desert Deadline. At the end of one of their adventures, the PCs recover a map to a fabulous treasure buried in the great desert of Anarak, a map drawn by a Zent agent and intercepted on its way to Zental Keep. Curiously, the map is attached to another document, a selection of prophecies from Alando of Candlekeep, who believed that some large-scale magical catastrophe was going to hit the great desert in 1372 DR. Okay, so it gives you also hooks there. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Because we are closing in on an hour here. Typically, we just go for an hour. So I don't know how we've looked at geography. I tell you what, let's just skip to, we're not going to have time to go into magic in detail, but let's just see what it says about magic. Because magic does work differently. We had, the Time of Troubles. We had the Weave here. And they do have a specific chapter on magic, so let's just thumb over that so we can see what chapter was that. Oh, Magic 54, so it's early. I guess that makes sense because it goes with players. So this may be a player-focused magic kind of thing. What kind of information do they tell us on how magic works? And new magic. So magic. Wild magic. Oh yeah, the weave and wild magic. I remember playing wild mages. Did I play a wild mage or was there just one in the party? I don't remember. In some areas of Toril, the weave is so warped or frayed that magic does not function reliably. The damage may be due to some magical disaster, such as those were common in the time of troubles in 1358. The effects of wild magic zones: suppressing wild magic, dead magic, detecting dead magic. What is spellfire? Is the raw energy of the weave. It can be manipulated in two ways. Mystra, that's the goddess of magic, gives the silver fire ability to her chosen and certain other favored servants. The spellfire ability, the wielding of true spellfire, is by far the most powerful of those rare and precious talents, and it is a random gift bestowed upon only a handful of women and men in a generation. Okay. Secret lore behind the shadow weave. So here's a distinction between what the players might need to know and what the game masters do, which seems to be a reason why it's more common now to separate the game master information from a player's guide, like Midgard is doing that. And I do like that approach. Elven magic and rune magic. Lots of books have rune magic. Portals, keyed portals, unusual portals. And then the spells of Faerun. So this gets you all of the domains. Oh, yeah, I guess that's important too. Cleric domains and any additional magic spells, maybe that are Faerun specific. So a lot of information on the deities and their portfolio. Analyze portal here. So this are some new spells. Any spell. Any spell allows you to read and prepare any arcane spell of up to 2nd level. You must have an arcane magical writing on hand to cast. Black light. You create an area of total darkness. The darkness is impenetrable to normal vision and darkness, but you can see normally within the black lit areas. Creatures outside the spell area, even you, cannot see through it. Claws of darkness, armor of darkness. So also a bunch of new spells. Elminster's evasion. So that is the brief overview of this. We can return to this as we're studying campaign settings later, but that's our brief overview of what we said. What is the campaign about? What do the players do? What are the places, and why should we go there? And then what is magic like? Would looking at that thesis be something that anybody here is interested in? That we said there was a thesis, a doctoral dissertation that was written. It's not a thesis, it's a dissertation. Some people use the terms interchangeably, but it's a dissertation on the OGL. If there's breaking news, I would also talk about that, but I think the OGL is important, and I'm kind of very curious as to see what this dissertation actually talks about, this dissertation in IP law, what it says, because I know people have been talking about the videos, but I don't know if people have dug into the dissertation yet. So I'll put a link to that in the Ravenkeep Discord. Let me put a link to the Ravenkeep Discord. So if you are here, would love to have you in the Discord. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning on the Morning Grind. I have enjoyed it. You give me energy. I love to see you in the chat. This was amazing, especially coming off of last night. It got done. Got up and got this done. If you're here on replay, thank you so much for watching on replay. I'm very happy to have you. I look forward to seeing you elsewhere online in the Ravenkeep Discord server, and then on a live stream, some other live stream today, probably, depending on what it is. We're just going to play that by ear, but it'll be something good. See you later, everybody. Have a wonderful day.